So days like today are definitely the highlight of being a Nintendo fan, and that is because we got an official announcement for a September Nintendo Direct. And just when the fans were starting to doubt that maybe we would not see this event, as historically Nintendo always holds them earlier in September, they go on Twitter and they drop the bomb that it will be going off tomorrow in the afternoon. And in today's video, I want to update you guys with all my last minute predictions, what I'm expecting to see at this event, what games I'm most hyped for, maybe even some Zelda 35th conversation included in there, and then what we can overall expect Nintendo to show us, including the big NSO update that we know is coming at this exciting September Nintendo Direct. What's up, Nation? If it's your first time on the channel, make sure you join Sunbro Nation by subscribing below, hit the like button on this video if you enjoy it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. As I mentioned, guys, we're covering Nintendo Direct today, the official announcement, because if you're a Nintendo fan, this is like the closest thing to Christmas morning whenever Nintendo's like, hey, by the way, tomorrow get prepared because we have a 40-minute stacked event that is going to unveil a ton of new Nintendo Switch titles, as well as obviously hyping up some existing titles that we already know to expect updates on. And that's kind of where I want to start off today's video, because we have a lot of exciting announcements to definitely expect from this event, and I kind of want to stack rank them in the way of the most likely and the safe bets that I think that we'll for sure see talked about at this event, and then kind of get into some of the funner conversation around some unannounced titles that we may see featured here, and then the big NSO update that I absolutely am expecting to see at this event, as we kind of knew, you know, a big reason that we were all eyes on Nintendo today and even tomorrow is just simply because we have that FCC filing for a new game controller that we know is ready to expire on Friday, so it means Nintendo has to show us that first, right? And obviously that happened. And I know with Nintendo rumors, there's not always where there's smoke, there's fire, but most of the time there is. Even people who want to be naysayers about the Switch Pro model not being real, I mean, we still got an OLED revision even when people were expecting nothing. So a lot of times, even if not all of the details of these rumors and leaks are true, there's a lot to look at as far as information that can point you in the right direction for what to potentially expect from Nintendo. But as I mentioned, Nintendo's the funnest company to cover when it comes to news stories, because they always like to do their own thing and surprise us as fans. So when we expect them to go one way, often they go the other. But to start off our list of kind of conversation around what we can for sure safely predict to see at this event, I'm going to start it off with the Smash character DLC reveal, as we have one more fighter left in the Smash Pass, and what a perfect place to announce it at a September Nintendo Direct. And I think that this absolutely happens. I would love to hear from you guys in the comments down below what your personal predictions are on what the character is, because there is a lot of back and forth on what we could see around maybe it being Crash Bandicoot, maybe it's Master Chief, maybe it's something super legendary the fans have been asking for forever, like Waluigi. I actually have to say that I would love to see Waluigi in Smash and as the final characters. I just think that that would be the most hilarious thing to see them close out the DLC with. Or, you know, maybe it's Sakurai himself as a fighter, which I don't think that that's going to happen, but it would be pretty hilarious and iconic if he did add himself in there as a fighter. So I would love to hear from you guys what you think we're getting for the Smash DLC announcement, but I do absolutely expect this to be at the event. Now from there, we definitely have Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity DLC to expect, as we know it is getting another DLC pack, I believe in November, and that's, you know, obviously probably going to get some extra details here at this event. Mario Party Superstars is also set to release in October, and we have very little glimpses of gameplay from this actual game, so I do think they will spend some time on that title and show us more of what it has to offer. As obviously so far we know it's going to be a collection of different N64 boards from back in the day, but definitely revitalized with newer gameplay mechanics. And I'm excited for this one personally, because the mini games are a lot of the classic ones as well, and I hope we have some more of the button style control mini games. I really hope that Nintendo actually lets us play this not just on Joy-Cons turned sideways, because I don't know about you guys, but for Super Mario Party, that's actually one of the things that kind of was my complaint, is that you had to use a Joy-Con sideways. You couldn't use a Pro controller or any other type of controller that's supported on the Switch. So I do hope that this time around we're not forced to play with Joy-Cons, but you know, depending on what style the mini games are, that will remain to be seen. But I do expect this to definitely be featured on at the event for quite some time, as you know, Nintendo's going to want to pump this one up to sell for the holiday season, as it's definitely a title that will draw in the casual audience as well as hardcore Mario fans. So I think that that's absolutely a safe bet to add to the list. We then have some already announced games that I'm also expecting, like Shin Megami Tensei 5, probably just some kind of update and overview trailer. Advanced Wars will actually definitely, I think, be one that they'll focus some time on, as this is going to be a remake from the Game Boy Advance era, and it is making its way onto the Switch for the first time, and I think Nintendo's going to want to spend some time on the mechanics and just a general overview trailer at the event. And then definitely, you know, we have Brain Age, we have the Pokemon games, Diamond and Pearl, definitely probably getting some kind of quick update trailer just to remind you that they are out in November. And then, you know, maybe we see Legends Arceus, maybe we don't, because Pokemon Company has definitely recently had a track record of holding their own events for revealing major information. Now from there, I want to talk about some big updates around games that we know are in development, AAA titles from Nintendo, but we have not seen any new footage on, and there's definitely some that I'm expecting to be here and some that I'm expecting to not. Now, the big one to start off this conversation is Bayonetta 3. We have had Platinum Games in the news a lot recently, as they have been running different interviews and things talking about the development cycle of their games, and whenever Bayonetta 3 comes up, they literally just say you have to forget about it for now. If you're a Bayonetta 3 fan, it is not up to us to when we're going to show the trailer. And you know, it's definitely causing a lot of speculation amongst fans as, is this game having development problems, or is it just something that Nintendo is simply holding it back for when they are ready to show it? And I think we have to see it at this event. I think I'm on the camp that, you know, Platinum Games is actually on a good track with this game, but that they're just simply not able to show it because Nintendo wants to market it themselves, and that's what Nintendo is handling. So it truly is not up to them. And I think that this is the perfect time to put out a trailer update for Bayonetta 3. But then you have to have the conversation that if we do not see it at this event, I will probably go to the camp that I think they may be having development problems with this game and something bigger is going on in the case of Bayonetta 3. But for right now, I would expect to actually see it featured at tomorrow's event, as this is going to be a major title that fans are definitely well overdue on some form of an update on, as it was actually released originally in 2017, if you can imagine that. Now, another update around an existing title that I do think we will see, and this is one that's already out there, but I think we're going to get some kind of new announcement for it, is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, as we recently had data miners find Mario Kart Tour had a Mario Kart 8 Deluxe folder in the update files, and we don't know what that's there for, and there's a lot of rumors and speculation that could point to the fact that maybe we're going to get some kind of Mario Kart Tour integration with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Maybe we see certain tracks brought over from that as a DLC pack for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. As much as I would love to see a Mario Kart 9 announcement, I don't think that's happening, as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is still topping the sales chart for Nintendo Switch, which again is ridiculous, but it is happening. So I think that we get an update most likely around Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, as opposed to a new Mario Kart announcement in terms of a brand new installment. Now from there, I do think that Splatoon 3 is another very likely already announced game that we will see some kind of update trailer around, as a lot of the rumors are pointing to this being an early 2022 title, and this would be again the perfect event to show off the actual gameplay that Splatoon has created, like its own hardcore fan base that is just super excited to see the mechanics of this game and what they're improving and what they're adding in. So I think that this is definitely going to be a big one that at least gets some time at this event. Now from there, there's a couple announced games that I'm feeling less likely will be focused on at this event. The first of which is unfortunately Breath of the Wild 2. I hope we get a trailer there. I'm not saying it won't happen, but I do think that based off what they showed us at E3, and really I'm going off of Anuma's statement of it being aiming for a 2022 release, that at least sounds like to me that this is a title that will be further into 2022, which means we will most likely see the blowout trailer with the title and all of that not featured on in this holiday season, as we know that, you know, they're going to want to spend their other time ramping up other titles for the holiday season to sell. And I think it makes more sense to see that depending on when it is ready for release in 2022, either at a February direct, or maybe it's the E3 blowout trailer and title reveal at E3 of next year, and then we get it for the, you know, October, November holiday release for Breath of the Wild 2. So that's kind of where I'm at on it right now. We could definitely be swerved by Nintendo and surprised we get the title of Breath of the Wild 2 and we understand what it has to offer. We get a huge overview trailer, and maybe we get like a March or April announcement for a time window for Breath of the Wild 2, but I am not setting my expectations to that, as I just don't think that they are far enough along on the game. I could be wrong, but you know, with them saying aiming for a 2022 release, it does sound like they're trying to give themselves the window that in case if it needs to be delayed into 2023, that they can do that without fans being totally shocked around it. So that's kind of my stance on that right now, but I hope I'm wrong about that one, because I will absolutely freak out if we see a Breath of the Wild 2 trailer tomorrow. Now, a big one that I definitely would love to see a trailer for, but I do not think will be at this event, is Metroid Prime 4, as they are definitely going to want to give Dread its own spot to breathe in the mainstream media and the mainstream sales before they talk about anything like a giant 3D installment of Metroid that fans are just like clamoring for more information on. You know, I think that that's saved for later into next year as well. That could easily be an E3 show closer next year or a February direct show closer, and I hope we at least get some kind of glimpse of that game soon and what the world is going to have to offer. But I think that right now everything that Nintendo is focusing on when it comes to Metroid is around Dread and getting that out there to as many fans as possible and really revitalizing Metroid as a series when it comes to the overall sales numbers. So that's kind of my stance on Metroid Prime 4, so I would not go into this event with any expectations of seeing that. We could see like a left field curveball thrown and maybe we get a Prime Trilogy announcement, but again, with this not being, you know, yet released as far as Metroid Dread goes, like this event is happening before October 8th, so to me that means that we're not going to see any other Metroid games talked about or focused on at this event. Now I actually want to jump over to some unannounced titles, but that we can heavily expect to Nintendo to at least announce at some point, if not many of them at this direct. And I want to start off that conversation with the games that we expected to see at part of Zelda's 35th anniversary, but then we were surprised by Nintendo and all they had for us was that Game & Watch, which, you know, is cool in and of itself, but like we definitely were expecting some kind of combo pack when it came to the classic 3D Zelda titles. And you have to have the conversation that Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD are still very likely to come over at some point, as we did have Andy Robinson, who is a journalist for VGC, actually say that 100% they would be out in 2021, and obviously that's not looking as likely, but you have to have the conversation that Nintendo could have just been holding those games back because they wanted Skyward Sword HD to have its own light, you know, in its own window to sell, as I think that the game sales would have been cannibalized if they would have said Skyward Sword HD is out in July, but then in October you guys are going to get Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD in a combo pack for Zelda's 35th anniversary. Like, I don't know how many fans would have just skipped over Skyward Sword HD if they knew that that extra title was coming. So I do think that it's possible that we get this at the event as part of the Zelda 35th anniversary celebration, but then you have to, you know, say that Aonuma would have definitely just been lying when he said we have no other games planned as part of the 35th anniversary, which then leads me to believe, if that's actually the case and he was being honest there, it leads me to believe that we will probably see these trickled out over the next couple of years, individually released at a full price port. So I do think that like we'll just get Wind Waker HD announced maybe at this event and it's $60, or maybe we get that at February and then later on we get the Twilight Princess port. But I think that those games are kind of the buffer for Breath of the Wild 2, especially if it needs more time in development before it's ready to go for release. So while I do not have high hopes that we will see these Zelda 35th games announced there tomorrow, I do think it's possible, or we could be surprised and they're going to give us a new 2D Zelda remake, or maybe even do that heavily rumored Ocarina of Time remake that I would love to see rebuilt from the ground up on the Switch. But all that remains to be seen for tomorrow's event, but I am kind of tempering my expectations on the lower side around seeing any kind of Zelda 35th titles at tomorrow's showcase. Now, another big title that I think is a safe prediction that we will see announced at this event is actually Xenoblade Chronicles 3, as we recently had those interviews go out with the voice actress where she basically confirmed that there was another one in development, but she wasn't sure if she was supposed to talk about it. Then you had other credible gaming journalists back that up and say that in fact it was supposed to be out in 2021 but was pushed back to a 2022 time slot just due to the work from home environment and the pandemic requirements for the game development. So I do think that this would be a very big announcement for a lot of fans, and definitely one that is most likely to take place tomorrow. From there, we do know that a new Kirby is in development, as the developing team themselves have confirmed that. We just don't know when or what to expect from this next installment of the franchise, other than the series creator actually did say that this will be a new direction for Kirby and kind of the evolution of the franchise. So that has caused a lot of fans to speculate that it'll most likely be a 3D title, and I really am ready for a 3D Kirby with different gameplay mechanics and some new, unique ideas. And I think that, it's not that we're for sure getting that at the event, but it's definitely on the likely list of unannounced games that we may see surprise drop tomorrow. We also have to have the conversation around Donkey Kong, as it has been a long time. If you guys don't realize that Tropical Freeze was originally a Wii U game that was released back in February of 2014, so we are well overdue for a new Donkey Kong installment. And of course, we had a lot of rumors and leaks pointing to the fact that this will be a 2.5D Donkey Kong that is actually currently being worked on from the same company that develops Mario Odyssey. So this is a very exciting one for me, as I will definitely be ready to pick up a new Donkey Kong game day one. And this could be one of those titles that is saved for something like a February Direct or even E3 next year. But if it is at the event and we at least get a hype trailer and find out it's an early 2022 title, I definitely think that that's a direction that Nintendo could go. So I will definitely be excited to hopefully see a Donkey Kong announcement tomorrow. Now, to wrap up our conversation today around what we can expect at this event, we have to talk about Nintendo Switch Online, because that's really the thing that almost spoiled this announcement, or at least pointed to the fact that this announcement would be happening this week. And that is because obviously we know that at this event, Nintendo will unveil some type of new game controller. And if you simply look at history, they do this alongside of a new console being unveiled for Nintendo Switch Online. And I'm going to go out there and say it. I'm going to say my personal prediction, and I think it is the safest prediction at this point, is that we get the N64 console added into Nintendo Switch Online, and we get an N64 controller sold to us individually, as they've done with SNES and NES controllers in the past. And I think that this is Nintendo's new formula, as opposed to going with the classic mini consoles like we saw them do with the NES and SNES. I think now they give us an NSO themed controller and a new system online. And then you have to have the conversation around, is that the only console we are going to see revealed, or will it be N64 plus Game Boy and Game Boy Color, maybe even Game Boy Advance, or some other third-party retro gaming platforms that we haven't really talked about or thought of yet? Like, do they go all out and blow it out with a ton of new systems announced, and then maybe if they do that, also introduce a new pricing tier? Like, all of that stuff is being heavily speculated upon online from a lot of different creators and from reporters and journalists. And I do think that this is another one of those situations that where there's smoke, there's fire. So while it's not going to be confirmed that we get a new pricing tier, I definitely can see Nintendo doing something like that and just raising it, you know, between $5 and $15, maybe even $20 for the entire year subscription. But then you get all those extra systems, and now you have a huge library of N64 titles and Game Boy titles and Game Boy Color titles that you can now play on your Nintendo Switch Online service. So that's going to be a really exciting one for me to see. I do think that we're getting this probably in the middle of the event with that Nintendo Switch Online, and probably somebody holding up that controller that is going to be available shortly after the Direct wraps up. So that's kind of where I land on all my predictions, guys. But at this point in the video, I really want to hear all your thoughts about everything that you're expecting from this event tomorrow. What's your biggest hype games that you really hope we see Nintendo talk about? What are some of your more lofty ones that you don't think will happen but you would love to see featured at the event? And then what are your safe predictions that you think we're for sure going to see announced? And what's this mystery NSO controller that you think we're going to see announced tomorrow? So I do look forward to hearing from you guys and getting a back and forth conversation started with you all around the topic of Nintendo Direct tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching the video today, everyone. I do truly appreciate you all sticking around until the end. I do at this point in the video would invite you all one more time to join Sunbro Nation if you haven't done so already. Do so by subscribing below, hit the like button on your way out if you enjoyed it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. That's gonna do it for me, guys. I hope you all have a great day. Sunbro Nation,